Hi everyone. So today I have the second of the two M&C dimple locks that I picked up. The earlier one that I picked was a Color Plus. This is, I believe, an M&C Condor, which is very similar, but a little bit simpler to pick. So just basic stuff. This has two locking mechanisms. It has a series of top stacks that are dimples, as you can see by the key. And then it's got some sliders that control a sidebar. So you have to lift the top stack to shear and then move the sliders to the appropriate position so that the true gates line up with the sidebar for that to fall in order to open this lock. Like other M&C locks, it's got these mushroom driver pins, as you can see right there. There's no milling within the plug, so those don't have any special interaction in the plug. And I found that on this lock, they were a little bit simpler to lift up than they were on some other M&C locks where they felt almost like barrels. You had to push them up through multiple clicks. This one, I didn't really experience that at all. And I'm not sure if that's an issue with tolerances or what, but this one was much simpler to pick than the Color Plus that I did earlier. The sliders have no false gates, as you can see right here. Just one true gate you have to deal with. The other thing that made this one, I think, a little easier than the other M&C lock is that the nub on the slider that interacts with the key, that you can see right there. The way that these sliders go in, if you can visualize it, is they sit in like this. They're sprung when you're picking this way. They're sprung to the left. And so the nub sits in the center, essentially, of the keyway, and you have to push them to the right. So you're pushing them from the middle to the outside. That was much easier for me to maneuver than on this Color Plus lock, where you can see the nubs are all on the right-hand side and you have to move them to the center. So those were much harder to get around, to get a flag or something back behind there to push them towards the center. These ones, because they sit in the middle of the keyway, I had a much easier time manipulating them with a flag. So a little bit simpler. You can see the slider track is kind of unique looking here. It's not a slider track per se. It's just a kind of a cut groove here that pushes the sliders over to the appropriate spot. And then the only other thing on this lock is you can see there's some divots here. That's just key control. There's two passive pins that are up here that don't do anything other than if your key does not have the correct divots, they get pushed into that channel right there on the side of the lock, and then the lock won't open. So I think that's it. Nothing weird with the sidebar. It's just a solid piece of metal. Again, this was a much easier pick than the Color Plus. I literally threw this up into the vise this morning, picked it first time I took a shot at it, and then just got the video camera out and just decided to run a video real quick. So the video you're going to watch is literally the second time I picked the lock. And it's the first time I gutted it, so I had to figure out a little bit what was going on there, but not too terrible. So with that, move over into the picking section. Again, this is an M&C Condor. Okay, so this is an M&C Condor. Key. I'm just going to be using some flags here. So I'm going to start with the top stacks. When I get the top stacks picked, I should get a very pronounced false set on this lock. and some plug rotation. Just making sure I can reach back here. Okay, all set. So now I just need to do these sliders. Sliders are a little hard to, they're not hard to set, but just making sure I'm on them is a little hard. They do jiggle test fairly well though. And it's nice, unlike the other M&C lock I picked with sliders, the fact that these ones pick from almost the center, and then you're pushing them to the right actually makes them a little bit easier in my opinion. Almost there. There we go. All right, it's picked. Okay, not too bad. Let's get this all gutted open. I have never gutted this, so this is going to be a first. I threw this up in the vise just to mess around with it and opened it and decided just to do the video right off the bat. So hopefully there are no weird surprises in here for me to deal with. I'm going to shim this. So one thing I'm going to watch out for is a sidebar falling off of this thing. Because when I did the one earlier, there was a sidebar on the bottom. I think this also has passive key control pins on the sides, so I'm going to watch out for those. I think I kept everything there. Okay, so I feel, okay, there's key control pins right there. So we can tap those out. Actually, I'm going to take the sidebar out. Okay, so here's the sidebar. Couple springs down here. Let's grab those. One. And two. Okay, and I'll do the top stacks, and then I'll do the, see if I can get the key control pins out. things do not want to come out, huh? I always debate whether it's nicer for the pins to fall out easy or hard, because they both have their own issues. 2. I don't know what that noise was. I thought one of the pins fell out. Okay, there's 3. 4. And 5. Okay, so there's the top pins, and now I'll pull the sliders out. So these ones go backwards. So this is 5. 4. 3. 2. And 1. And then there should be springs in here. I got 3 springs. Oh, 4 springs. There's one still in there. I can see the one that's still in there. There it is. Okay. And then maybe these passive pins don't pop out. Let's find out here. I can see where they poke through. Oh, nope, they do. All right, so those are passive key control pins. Okay, so there we go. There's the plug. Plug's fully gutted. Not sure what kinds of drivers are in this. So let's find out. It is these weird little mushroom things again. I did not feel, whoops, they did not feel as active as on other M&C locks that I picked. I'm not surprised that's the same drivers, but they really did not give the same kind of feedback. I didn't feel like I had to pick them up through counter rotation at all. Not sure if that's because of the kind of lock. Maybe it's my bitting, I'm not really sure, but they are definitely mushrooms. Oh, that was almost tragic. There's a spring, the last driver. And the last spring. All right, let's take a look at this. So in the plug, no milling as far as I can see. Nope. This is a drill protection thing. It's in there. It looks like it might be crimped in there. This fell out in my other one. 5 sliders. And then that's for the passive key control. And let's bring this up close here. So there are the drivers with those mushrooms. And there are the sliders. The sliders do not look like they have any false gates at all. Sidebar here. Sidebar is just solid bar of metal. Let's look at these sliders. Yeah, no false gates that I can see. And check out one of these drivers here. Yeah. All right, that was not bad at all. Maybe I'm just on a roll with these M&C locks because I've been picking them lately, but didn't really get the same feedback from the drivers. The sliders were way easier than they were on the Color Plus that I picked earlier. So there you go, M&C Condor, picked and gutted.